again, thank you for having me. I'm excited about discussing about manufacturing leadership in the digital era. And then for those who are not in manufacturing industry, no worry, a lot of the things that I'm discussing would be either applicable or we have similar like solution that we provide for other industries. So today I really wanted to focus since the first presenter on you, on the individual and kind of like the role you can play in your company. So what I put together for an agenda is very simple. Is the first thing is about leadership. So being a leader, I'll discuss a few things about a framework to make better decision and influence your organization to make a change happen. Because often we talk about transformation at company and organization. It really is start with the people, not the technology. So we'll focus on that first. And then we'll give example of what leading manufacturers are doing across the globe. And I come from the PLM industry. I joined Google about a year ago. I'm an industry manager for manufacturing. And previously I worked at Siemens and Autodesk and a similar company to help manufacturing company transform. The final piece would be on now focusing on how Google can help you as an individual or as a team member, as well as your organization lead. So focusing on the first topic, the first section, is being a leader. So during the pandemic, I read a book because I had a little bit more time with less traveling, and this one was about the 7 perspective of effective leaders. It was written by Daniel Arcavy. It's an excellent book that really teaches you about a very simple framework to make better decisions and helping influence your organization in time of change, where you need to make really big decisions and be able to expand your sphere of influence. So I'm going to go through some of the 7 perspectives really lightly, just to set an example of how important it is to consider these 7 perspectives in coordination all together, because you cannot just be good at one. You have to really take into account these 7 perspectives that he mentioned during the book. So the first one is to understand where you're starting from. So the current reality, where you're in, where your company, your team is, and your current situation.
Hey, Fabien.
Yes.
Fabien, I'm wondering.
Tell me.
I'm just getting a couple of feedback. I know that your colleague couldn't see it, and Nicholas said he can't see it. Could other people comment? What we may need to do is just maybe switch some of the speakers out, and we may have to do something behind the scenes here. I know Nicholas just said he can't see it. And so is there anyone else? I just want to make sure. Daniel, can you see it now?
Yeah, it just appeared. So if something was changed, it showed up now. It's visible.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Nicholas, then, I think it might be you. Sorry for interrupting you. Why don't you continue? Just trying to make sure we keep everyone happy. Okay, great.
No,
thank you.
Thank you, Ron, for letting me know. So this is the issue that we talked about. I have to stop, pause, and change slides. So let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna.
It's okay. Everyone can get it now, so I think we're in good shape. We'll work through our digital duct tape solution.
All right, perfect. So now I had to play the entire slide to be able to speak again. All right, so what you see on the slide here is basically all the perspective. And these perspectives are important because you can see at the top, it starts with the current situation that you're in. And then you have to be able to, the second perspective is about the vision that you have. So it could be the vision that your company has set. It could be the vision that your team has set for the year, but it has to be clearly communicated. Once you paint that vision, you're going to be able to identify who's rallying behind it. In order to find people who are rallying to go towards that vision, you really need to communicate this clearly and making very enticing for others to embrace the change. So the third step is, what steps are you going to take to go from your current situation to reach this objective that you've set for the team or for the organization? So those are the strategic bets you're going to take. And then you're going to take these bets with your team. Now, in order to take these steps together, you really need to understand your team perspective. And because if you don't understand the perception that they have on their current reality and where they need to go, it's going to be really difficult to make a change happen. And then obviously your customer is always first. So the focus on the customer, the perception that the customer has, the expectation that the customer has is going to matter and influence all the other perspective, the steps you need to take, the objective you need to reach. And often your role is very specific and you bring unique value to this. So you're going to have an understanding of how you can rely on your team members and be able to delegate some of the tasks, because you cannot take into account the entire role and perspective and steps that you're going to have to take. And then the final piece is interesting. It's the outsider. So you always have to rely on people that are outside of your company, whether they're outside of your industry or there's partner that you bring at the table, whether it's a hyperscaler or a cloud provider or a PLM solution provider. In this case, you need to be open to different insight and different perspective, because they can bring value to you by challenging the way you look at things, whether you set the vision properly, the steps that you're taking to get to that next level are, agreed between all the stakeholders. So an outsider perspective is always welcome. Now, the second section of this presentation is about what do leading manufacturing companies are doing today to be best in class. And you talked about this, Ron, at the beginning of your introduction. It's like you say, how can we make sure that you become more robust, more flexible, and maybe faster? So this manufacturing company or enterprise are always meeting their customers' expectation or exceeding them through innovation with speed and flexibility, efficiency and quality. And they keep in mind, obviously, the safety, sustainability, and security. And the way they do it is incredible, because we're really facing a very complex world today, which we call the VUCA world. So we live in an extremely volatile, uncertain, and complex and ambiguous world. And this was, it's a term that was used by Harvard business professor. And he's saying basically that you have to respond with it with vision, understanding, courage, and adaptability. And where I'm going with this is, in order to have vision, understanding, courage, and adaptability, it really comes from knowledge and information. Because in order to respond to these uncertain and complex situations, and dealing with the fact that you have disparate data within your organization, your products are becoming more and more complex, because now they include mechanical, electrical, electronics, and software. It becomes really difficult. And the fact that you have limited resources internally and sometimes with partners makes it even more complex. So how do you respond to this? Is by finding the right information and delivering in time to your customer or your employees to make better decisions and influence the organization to make a change happen. So manufacturers have turned to Industry 4.0 to find the answers. And, whether it's to improve the disconnect that there is between all the siloed system, whether it's to make better data-driven decision with some of the pilot that you might have been experimenting, and then optimizing the operation through machine, line, and plant level. And what I'm going to go in the last section is really focus on how Google Cloud can help you as an individual, as well as your organization lead. Not sure if the slide have changed, by the way.
No, we're still staring at the aligning with business on 7 perspectives. That's what I see.
Me,
Just kind of hurried through all of them, and now we're back on that aligning.
Here. Okay, so now I have to unmute myself. I went through the slides. It's quite complex to be able to do this here. All right, so how do we do it?
You're muted again, Fabien.
Okay, so I'm going to try to stay and looking at the presentation without switching windows. So what I was saying here is that the mission of Google is to deliver basically the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. For Google Cloud, we do the same thing for an enterprise. So we accelerate the ability of the organization to digitally transform their business with the best infrastructure, platform, and industry solution. Now I'm going to have to change slide and pause.
hey, Fabien, I might suggest, because what you're saying is more important than the slides, maybe if you could pick one slide, stay on that, and then just talk on a number of issues to share your expertise on the strategic level.
Yes, so in this case, hopefully you can see the slide. It starts talking about the Google Cloud Horizontal Solution, where you can see, and Daniel will go into this a little bit deeper at the end of the day, where we focus on 5 pillars. There's an infrastructure pillar, the data pillar, and security, as well as productivity and collaboration. In the case of the infrastructure pillar, you can see there is modernization of the traditional app, platform modernization. He'll cover some of that, as well as security issue. Those are the horizontal solution that we bring to manufacturers. Now, when I'm going to switch to the, and hopefully it switched. We are now focusing more on the key transformation area of a manufacturing company by focusing on the customer experience, the product development phase, and the optimization of the operation and supply chain, keeping in mind the sustainability and security that we brought up at the beginning. And how do we do this? Let me. All right, I think I'm mastering it. Hopefully you can see the different slide now as I go through the presentation. So what we created is a data digital thread for manufacturers. And it takes into account all of the disparate systems that might be across all of the systems you see at the bottom of the slide here. And we are focusing on how to make more intelligent product, helping with product development. How can we improve the operation and the supply chain? So this is the slide that we created, and this is what we're after. After, and I'm going to try to avoid switching through so many slides, we're already focusing on the intelligent product. So I'll skip on some of the slides, but what we are allowing our manufacturers to do is creating new revenue stream by monetizing, helping manufacturers make a shift from periodical sale, like a piece of hardware, to more of a software sale. So by creating software application that they can not only monetize, but also improving, obviously, the customer experience. So with these evolving capabilities, they make it easier and more cost effective to insert new digital capability into their product. So this is increasing their competitiveness and in the marketplace, but more importantly, it delights the customer with digital capability to enhance an existing product. And that's the big focus that we've been having. And how do we do this? We created basically an intelligent product suite that allows you to gather the data that's at your product level when you're distributing it and it's in the field, in order to ingest, process that data, and be able to run some application and that are going to provide better support for the customer. Predictive maintenance is going to be able to enable maybe a better customer 360 data experience and ecosystem. So it's more in terms of the experience that the customer has dealing with the manufacturing company, in terms of doing research on the product, interacting with the product and providing feedback. And then in the end, it's helping you create some application. So some example of what we've done for the automotive industry is creating a better experience once you're using the vehicle through application. And Toyota just made an announcement yesterday during a Google Next about some of the voice-enabled feature that we're bringing to Android. Outside of the product itself, we are working on the intelligent manufacturing platform. And in this case, this platform enables you to ingest very quickly and at scale data equipment, whether it's 250 different protocols from PLC, MES, and SCADA. And this data, once ingesting into our intelligent data engine, is going to be able to allow you to create different applications to be able to either monitor what's happening at the plant level, at the equipment level. You'll be able to run some plant analytics. You'll be able to do some visual inspection or some machine level anomaly detection. So all these apps are created and they can be leveraged. Somebody's going to talk about low code, no code application by the business user, whether it's the plant manager or a quality engineer, and you'll be able to deploy a predictive maintenance app, doing some root cause analysis. And this is what we enable with our intelligent manufacturing platform. Now, at the R&D level, when an engineer is trying to run some simulation, typically you need a lot of computing power. So we enable you to run all of your simulation type of software into our GCP platform, which enables much better performance due to the fact that we have a private network, and it allows you to run this simulation faster and in a much more cost-effective way. Finally, the digital supply chain. We allow you to recreate a digital twin of your supply chain to do what-if scenario and basically be able to do a constant check of what's happening as a supply chain pulse by incorporating all of your supplier data and be able to alert you when there's an issue with one of your supplier in some part of the world. So those are the three things that we really focus on the manufacturing side. And then obviously, one of the main goals of Google is to focus on sustainability. So we do provide the greenest infrastructure network to be able to meet some of your ESG goal. And we have some example. So once you receive the slide, you'll be able to see the example that are provided. And the final thing is really focusing on security. And with the security, we launched this year the sovereign data cloud, and you'll be able to understand that depending on where you do business in each region of the world, we're able to meet the requirement from these countries, whether it's in Germany or France or others. And to basically conclude this, the portfolio of manufacturing solution that we provide really enables you to create and develop, ideate better product, improve the manufacturing operation that you have. And let's see if I can actually show you this slide. All right, so now you should be able to see that slide that kind of like give you an overview of what I talked about in terms of intelligent product and intelligent manufacturing. And then we basically count on not just Google Cloud. So when we come to the table with our customer, we bring Alphabet with us. So meaning as a Google Cloud partner, we also have access to what Google is offering in terms of hardware, other type of software, the retail ad platform that we have, and also our Google device. So the hardware piece, whether it's Google Glass for manufacturers, some of the hardware that we provide to make more intelligent product, we can bring all of these resources to the table. So in conclusion, since we have 4 minutes left, aligning with the business on this servant perspective is going to really serve you well, depending on what you're trying to do in company. Leverage this servant perspective, because they'll be able to help you influence the organization and be able to help the team make better decisions to meet your customers' requirement and expectation. So I think the difficulty, technical difficulty, but I'll be happy to share the slides with you, Ron, and
Well,
make sure that you can read them to
sure.
the audience.